Live streaming is on.
Greetings and welcome to Stunthangar Video Hangouts. My name is Charles Carter, and I will be your host this evening. I want to extend to you my gratitude for you watching Stunthangar Video Hangouts. And if you are watching this as a replay, I want you to know that I do these live streams every Monday and Friday evening, starting at 6:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So make a note of this so you can watch or be part of the live stream. Plus, we have an after party following the live stream, which is sometimes better than the live stream portion. You must be a registered Stunthangar forum member to find the link to attend the after party. Now, here at Stunthangar Video Hangouts, we talk about building and flying model airplanes, sport flying, competition flying, and whatever you've been doing lately. To join our conversation, if you are already a Stunthangar forum member, you can find the link if you scroll down to the section called At the Bench. Now, if you're not a member, please register at stunthangar.com/S as in sunset, M as in Mary, F as in foxtrot. And you must place a space between your real first and last name when you register. And you also must use a valid email address or Sparky. The proprietor of Stunthangar will not approve you. If you are inclined to not come in and just enjoy watching us on YouTube, wonderful, fantastic. Please enter your questions or comments in the chat box, and I'll do my best to make your comments a part of the show. And I understand that sometimes we get going in a conversation, and I can't find a way to get a word in edgewise. So please be patient, and I will ask your question or state your comment to our illustrious panel. Now, if you find these Stunthangar Video Hangouts or the many building videos that Sparky does informative and enjoyable, please give us a thumbs up. And that helps the channel grow. And and share and subscribe. And when you subscribe, hit the notification bell and make sure you click all notifications so that whenever Sparky or myself starts a stream, you'll be notified. Okay, and please consider joining our YouTube memberships, which start at $4.99, which is less than 17 cents a day. And your support help offset some of the expenses of running Stunthangar. And with your memberships, you'll get special badges, which I can see on YouTube in the chat box, and unlimited replay of member-only videos. And once a month, Sparky has a question and answer show for members only. You can also use the super chat, which is located at the bottom of the chat box, which is like a big S with a dollar sign, and you can make your donations there. And I want to thank you for your past, your present, and future support. Please keep the conversations family room friendly. In other words, please don't use words you wouldn't say around your children or grandchildren. Okay, without any further ado, I'm going to post the link at Stunthangar Forum. So I'm going to turn my attention to a different screen here, and I'm going to post the link right now. Okay, and let me see what's going on the YouTube side. Looks like it's updating. One viewer. All right. Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll have some guests and our regular usual suspects will come in, hopefully. And hopefully we'll have a really good show. We're just getting started. I really haven't been doing much as far as flying. I did pick up a big order. I had a Brodak order. 3 of us placed a big order. And so I'm going to disseminate all the items and who owes who what and that kind of stuff. But I was watching Hogs and Planes. That's a YouTube channel. The gentleman's name is Daryl. He used to come in, and I wish he would come in again. So if you're listening, Daryl, please come in. I miss you. Try not to yawn too much like I did a couple years ago. But yeah, Daryl, I really enjoyed the SV11 build. I also enjoyed the flights. I think you have 2 videos. You have the maiden video, and you have the one where you're working on the lap times, and that was really good. and then even the building, some of the things that you mentioned on the build, like those blades, I think they're Exacto blades 215, and you said they're really good for cutting out holes. I don't know if it was in the plywood or not, but I'm going to check those blades out. And so keep them coming. That was a good video, and I'm really personally interested because amongst the things that came in on that Brodak order was a SV11 electric. And I'm just trying it. I'm not fully committed to it, but I won't know what it's like until I fly one. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to try to get all the Brodak stuff. Right now they're out of the batteries. I already have the motor, and I have a different brand of ESC and different timer, but I believe that it should be okay. And but it looks like it flies pretty good. Watching Daryl fly his SV11, and then I fly with a gentleman named Keith Miller, and he has an SV11, and he has I think it's a Super Tiger 51 on it, and that thing is flying nice. And before that, he had another SV11, and he had a Evolution 61 in that one also. And so I've seen that model fly 3 times, and I'm impressed with it. I'm looking forward to it. So where is everybody at? I know I got in just a minute early, but let's see here. Is everything all right? I got 2 viewers. So don't forget to hit the like button. I have a video on the channel that last I checked, it had like 1,200 views, and it only had 21 likes. And those 21 likes might have been just from the live portion. So please, if you are watching this as a replay, please hit the like button. I don't know why a person wouldn't hit the like button, but please hit the like button. It helps the channel grow. And particularly if you're watching it live, it seems like the live people are predisposed to give it a like, and those who just watch the replay, they're not hitting likes, because 1,200 views and only 21 likes. That's pretty ridiculous. I don't understand, because it was a good show as well. So so now we have 4 playbacks. There's no one in the chat, and looks like it's streaming. Excellent connection. 6 viewers now. Thank you for the 2 likes. Thank you for doing that. I really appreciate that. And the other people, please consider hitting the like button. I have absolute confidence that this show will get better. I'm just waiting for some people to come on in, and we can get things going. So let me see. Here comes somebody. Here comes a guest. Let's see who this is. They don't have a name. Hey, Robert.
Hello there.
You are the first one in.
Am
I actually had to import someone from Canada. That's a shame. No one in the United States is in. The first one in is from Canada.
Yeah, there's a problem on YouTube also. It won't come up. It's just the image. And then when I clicked on it, it's just got that spinning wheel thing like loading, and it isn't doing anything.
Oh. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I tried a different channel, and it loads up no problem. So it's I think it's ours.
Well, it's okay. You and I can handle this. You and I can carry it. No problem.
In like a month, so I thought, I'm feeling pretty good tonight, and I got some time, or I make some time for my friends on Hangout. So here we are.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And here's Gary. Hey, Gary.
Yeah. Hi.
How are you doing?
I got in the first time tonight.
All right, the first time. Yeah, I clicked allow, and it lets you in right away. That's good.
Yeah.
So maybe that gremlin, whatever it was, is giving you a hard time. Maybe he or she is on vacation or on spring break. That's right, they're on spring break. So, Robert, do you know about Daryl, the guy on Hogs and Plains?
Yeah, I haven't seen him in a while, but I know him. Yeah.
Yeah, I was watching his videos, the SV11 electric
Yeah.
ARF,
Yeah.
and that plane looks pretty nice. And here comes Bob Hunt. Wow.
In fact, I just haven't been doing anything for building really much. Life's been in the way, but dug out the smoothie and put it on the bench tonight. And I actually got that one from Daryl.
You got that smoothie from Daryl?
Yeah, it was a giveaway. $99 Canadian.
very-
So like what, $10 American? I don't know.
I don't know what the exchange rate is.
That was funny.
Nah, be the equivalent of about I don't know, $75, $80 American.
Alrighty. Hi, Bob. Thanks for coming in tonight.
Hi, Charles. How are you, everybody?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. I received the SV11, the electric ARF.
Oh, cool.
I have that, and so I was trying to scope out some batteries. The Brodak is out of the battery they recommend. They recommend a 4S by 3500 milliamp 30C battery, and they don't have any. And there's where,
a 30C battery?
yeah,
You don't need a 30C battery. 25C is fine. You can get a 4S 4000 from Thunder Power, you know.
okay. And what else? I've been watching. There's a Hogs and Planes up in Canada. He actually has a couple of videos. Let me allow Lynn in. Hey, Lynn. You probably can hear me. I can't see you and I can't hear you yet, but I know you're working on it.
And he's awake.
So how you doing, Lynn?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Doing well. So we have Robert in here and you. So it's 2 Canadians against 3.
We're
And,
still behind.
Yeah.
We'll work on it.
Yeah, it's the exchange rate.
Oh, okay.
It takes 3 of us to match up against 2 Canadians. Okay.
No, I think it takes about 5 Canadians to catch 3 of you guys.
So, Bob,
Wow.
thanks so much for your following up on and clarifying all that about Win Paul's book. I put myself down.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Win and I keep in touch quite often. He's was a long time good friend. And he's had some real tragic things happen in his life that I won't go into. It's all personal. But he's coming out the other end now. And he's starting to fly. He's been flying some electric. Kenny Stevens has hooked him up with some airplanes and converted one of his old airplanes. And he's getting back into it. He's all excited. And the book is done. The book has been finished for a while, but his publisher is going over it in excruciating detail to make sure it's perfect before they go to press.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could get some of the publications that used to be on the Pampas site available again, too.
You mean the Stunt Newses and things?
Yeah, not the Stunt News, but they used to sell, on the gift shop sort of thing with the patches and everything and the plans. There was a few books there on.
Yeah, well,
Stunt.
Elliot Scott's going to have them available. He's taken over Pampa Plans and Pampa Products, and it will be available. So keep checking on the website because he's supposed to have that up and running pretty soon. They finally got the Visa and MasterCard thing figured out, so they can take memberships and charge for products that way too. So.
Good, because I've got to renew.
It's getting back in gear.
Yeah, I've got to renew. I wouldn't mind a couple of patches. I mean, mine is at least 45 years old.
Yeah.
Pushing 50. I think I joined up with Pampa on about the 2nd issue. As soon as it came out, American Aircraft Model or whatever it was.
Wow.
Hey, Howard.
Hi,
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
All right. I forgot to email you my address, but I will get that to you.
Okay.
This is regarding the Vortex generators.
Okay.
So what you been up to?
Well, been building a stunt plane
Yeah.
and trying to figure out how to integrate Lori's flap tweaker into the flap. I think I figured it out. And I'll go away for a while. We're going to go for a cruise to get some food and to see if the slow leak in the tire gets faster as we drive. So I might be back.
Very cool. And John's in the house. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm okay. How about you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here.
Good.
Glad to be seen.
Better than viewed.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
And just so you know, the YouTube stream is now working.
Oh, thank you. Thank you
Yeah, I
very much.
fixed it on my way in.
Thank you, John. Thank you very much.
So now
So
I
we're
can
up to we're up to 14 viewers and we have 4 likes. And Mike Lonke said he liked you, baby. Thank you, Mike.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, John, how you doing?
Not bad. How's things in the not so frozen north?
Well, it's not so frozen anymore, that's for sure. I actually got out flying once last week.
Oh,
Wow.
Or during this past week, got a couple of flights in. It was good.
no. Excellent.
What plane did you fly?
Just my old profile Cardinal.
Oh, that's good.
It's starting its 14th season. It's tired.
Well, you probably know what to expect every time you fly it.
Most definitely. I think it knows what to expect too.
When you
Same mistakes every flight.
I know. Practice doesn't make perfect; it makes permanent.
Oh yeah, that's right. Permanent mistakes. You're right.
Yeah.
Well, when you practice your mistakes, you make them. You get your mistakes perfectly. That's it.
That's right. You know it.
Yeah, it's been fairly nice out this way too, Len.
That's great.
Cooling off a bunch for the next week, but you know, that will still be above freezing.
Well, it's that time of year still. It's not going to be perfect yet. I probably won't get out again now until first week of May. We just wanted to get out and knock the dust off a little bit, so to speak.
Yeah, a couple of the guys got out and posted some videos with Rob Duckering with his new plane. So I think it was his SV11. So if you want to hit our site on Facebook and you can look that up.
Okay, I'll see if I can check that out via Naomi because I don't even know how to do Facebook, but she does.
Well, if you're not a member of our group, jump on board.
I'll see what I can do.
We have another guest coming in. No name. Let me see who this is. Phil, as long as you've been around, your name is.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, Phil. You don't have a name on your when you come in. It just says guest.
I don't know.
Yeah, go down to the bottom, and then you can make your name known to all of us. So I'm always apprehensive when there's no name.
Where do you do that?
Go down to the 3 dots there on the right side. I don't know if you're on a PC or not, but
Yeah, well, I'm on a Apple, but more knows you raise your hand, enable bandwidth mode, invite someone, select sound device.
let me see. Where's that? Let me let Mark Lumen in. There's got to be a way for you to.
You better let Mark in.
Yeah, sure will. I don't know where that's at. Yeah, maybe it's under settings. Go to those 3 dots on the right side, and then scroll up to settings. Hey, Mark, and then maybe settings you can
toggle camera,
add your
enter
name.
view,
No,
enter tile view. Ugh. Share your YouTube video. No, I don't know. I don't see anything.
okay.
Right.
Well,
I'm on an iPad and I'm getting the same display. It doesn't say it.
okay.
Well, if anybody can figure out how to do it on this thing, I'll put
right.
it in.
It just makes me a little bit anxious when it's just a guess. I don't know if it's going to be a troll or not. So I'm just kind of bracing. Oh, what is this? What is this? And
yeah. I see Mark still in the bed. My goodness.
I'm just laying down and got my leg propped up. I've been up on it all
Oh.
day and doing PT and yeah.
Oh,
so
boy.
I'm just got stuck up in there. Doing better though. I'm
Good deal. Good deal. Glad to hear
real
it.
happy with the progress. So yeah.
You getting the rain like we're getting?
Well, we did today. Yeah. We had
It's
a
been
nasty storm this morning.
Yeah, my yard is so dadgum wet. You walk out there and it's not just wet; it's you're standing in water.
Yeah.
I've been here 30 years, and this is the wettest this yard's ever been.
Wow.
You mean you're not painting today?
No.
Bill.
Yes, sir.
It's all due to global warming. That's the ocean out there in your yard.
You know, I think the
Sounds
world
like
of you,
an
but
excuse
I
to
think
make that afloats.
yeah.
Make
I
some
tell you what.
pontoons for your center.
I tell you what. Honestly, I've been looking at these. I picked up some free flight kits the other last weekend, and there's one of them called a convertible, and I've honestly been looking at it because it comes with a set of floats. There was this cat named Noah came by in a boat, and he was but he kept fussing at the rabbits, man. He kept telling only two. They don't listen.
Thank you, Bill Cosby.
Man, I tell you,
That's funny.
What was that, Bob?
Tom Ramel, let me interrupt. Tom Ramel says, I liked you too. Thank you, Tom. And thank you, Mike. And that's all we have in the chat box. So hopefully it'll grow. And we have 18 viewers, and 9 likes. So please, again, don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to share and like. Thank you very much.
I gotta like it.
What'd you say, John?
Brian Gardner.
I said I gotta like it. Heck, I love it.
Yeah, Brian Gardner just sent me back. He got the money and all. So with a little luck, I've got 3 sleeve and piston sets on the way.
Very nice.
Outstanding.
Good
I
stuff.
hope.
You just
That's for which engine?
That's for the 46s. Yeah, that
yeah.
has become the motor of choice. If you're gonna fly ignition, I see. The 46 has about become the motor of choice. Forget all the tune pipes and the other crap. You can take these things out and just
the OS or the Super Dagger.
Yeah, it's OS LA 46 or 46 LA, however you prefer to say it. But these things, you can just take them out and beat them up and clean them off and keep getting it with them. And
I
because
got
I've got
assemblies and
yeah.
yeah, those
You get all
they were jewels. I mean, Paul put them in my one wore out my original 36X, and I mean, it's almost a shame putting them in an engine. They're just so beautiful the way he makes them. It's just terrific workmanship.
Well, I got 3 of those ordered for that, and then I've got one for a 51 and one for a OS 35S. So we're gonna see if we can't. I've marveled at 3 engines at the field in the last two years, and they just sound different and they run so much better than what I was running that I finally went over and asked the guys, "What the heck have you done? What is that motor?" And as soon as he flipped the plane upside down, I saw that round head, and I said, "Oh, that's a Brian Gardner." He said, "Yes, it is." So I finally got on the list to get one. So I got 3 of them. I figured one of my local guys will want one, I'm sure. So so I got 3 of those, and I ordered an ST51 for myself for later on down the line, and an OS 35S, because I've got a 35S I've had longer than my wife and I have been married. That's a long time, 46,
That's a long time.
46 years. And
God bless
that
you.
thing, the sleeve and piston, is finally so worn out. If you crank it on caster, it'll crank. If you try to put all synthetic in there, no. You'll blow all the
what's the
caster out
rod
of it.
like?
The rod's still
What's the
good,
rod like?
amazingly. The rod's still
Not
tight
egged out
on it.
or anything?
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Looks good.
You got one of
But
the rare ones.
But the sleeve and piston are just wore slap out. The pistons wore out. I bought a new sleeve and piston for it, and as soon as I got it home and took it out of the pack, I knew, well, this isn't going to do any good. And Looper says, why? I said, well, listen. And I'm shaking the piston back and forth in the sleeve and piston, and it's bumping my finger and my thumb. Just I said, well, that ain't gonna do me any good. So, you win some, you lose some. But I found out it is the sleeve that's worn because I put the new piston in the old sleeve, thinking maybe it'll be tight. It's looser than the new one. But the new one's going to be taken down to absolute zero and brought back up, and hopefully that'll make everything shrink enough to fit. So we'll heat treat the piston and cold treat the sleeve and piston, which once it comes back to room temperature, I don't understand how that makes a difference, but some of the guys are telling me, oh yeah, it makes a difference. So, okay, go ahead, go for it. They said they'd do it for me for nothing just to see if I can make it work, take it on as a challenge. And these guys are some pretty good machinists, so we'll see what happens.
Good stuff.
Mr. Hunt,
Bob, what have you been doing all day? You look tired.
Yeah. Well, I've been trimming balsa wood all day long for the last couple of days.
Oh, wow.
I've been trimming.
Oh, my goodness.
And that's just over there far end. There's more over there to trim yet. So.
Lord have mercy,
Wow.
Bob. When you say you've been trimming balsa, you ain't kidding.
Now is that from the retirement pile, or is
Bob.
that the
You're
good
working
one?
twice as hard.
What's that?
You're supposed to be retiring. You're not supposed to be increasing your workload there, fella.
Well, yeah, but once I announced that, I got so many orders that I had to start getting wood ready. So.
Oh, that's what. Yeah. Now
Well,
you
you're
got to
gonna
work
get
harder than ever.
It's like those furniture stores, going out of business forever.
Right.
I
Oh,
was just
look out.
thinking that. I was just thinking that, Bob.
Well, rumor has it that's not from the good pile anyway, right? You still got the good pile in there, lock and key.
Well, I got 9 grams, I got 9.5, I got 10, and I got 10.5 stacked. So the 9.5 and the 9 go on the inboard wings, and the 10 and the 10.5 goes on the outboard wing. So you have a little tip weight built in.
Wow.
You're using up Robbie's inheritance, aren't you?
No, that's in the other room.
That's what I said. That's locked up still, right?
It's in a vault, in a safe, in a vault,
A vault.
in a volcano.
A mason jar on Funk and Wagnall's front porch, right?
Yeah. Believe me, if you go after that wood, you'll lose a hand. Robbie will see to it.
Hey, Eddie, thanks for coming in. And hey, Tryan, thanks for coming in, Tryan. And Tom Rammel says, I like Phil's idea of the seaplane. I still have half the lake covered with ice.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he did.
Oh.
Hey, Phil, did you bring it up for everybody?
Phil, you're muted.
Yeah.
Bob, I have enough to give everybody here one, but the shipping is ridiculous. It'd be melted by the time I get it there.
Well, I was afraid you were going to say, do I have enough balsa for us?
No, do you have enough balsa to build my wing? Jeez. Lord. I just hate to hear you're retiring, but after 53 years, I quite understand.
Yeah. Well, I'm not retiring from life. I'm going to,
Right.
Well, I hope not. We still want to aggravate you.
I'm building like a madman. Matter of fact, I got to show you what I've been doing on the twin, because I got a lot of work done on the twin this week.
Let's check
You got to
it
get that twin. You got to get that twin drawn up so somebody else can build one.
Yeah. Well, let me get mine done first.
Well, I understand that.
Here,
I understand that.
Yeah, go ahead and show us. I made you big.
In order to make, I'll show you how I make nacelles and how I get the nacelles to fit. In order to get the nacelle to fit perfectly onto the wing, and actually you don't mount the nacelles to the wing, you mount the airplane to the nacelle. You get the nacelles done, and you orient them to each other on a board, and you get them so the center line of the nacelle is parallel to the center line of the table, and then you put the whole airplane into the nacelles and line it up and glue it. Well, to make the nacelles, the nacelles, what I do is I make a dummy panel, and most people will say that everything I do is a dummy panel. But you make a dummy panel. You make a dummy panel of the exact same shape and size and everything as your wing, and then you can measure out to where the center line of the nacelle is. right here.
Okay.
You can see that,
Yeah.
right? And then you measure out to where the sides of the nacelle is going to be, and you put a little line that's perpendicular to the center line, so you can measure forward because you have a tapered wing, and so the cutouts in the nacelle sides, one's going to be further forward or further aft than the other. All right. So you have to be able to do that. You can see that that's.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. So then what I do is I use that to lay out templates from which I can make my sides and my doublers. All right. So these are just templates. And see if I can hold it up where you can see a little closer. It's got the position of the retract mount on there.
Yeah.
And in each and these things will now fit. Let's see which one is this. This is a outboard. And this is an outboard. So this will fit on here. Perfect.
Okay.
And
Yeah, I see it.
And this one fits on here perfectly. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much perfect.
Okay.
Wow.
So now what I do is I make the sides. I use the templates to make the few sides out of very light 3/32. And then I also make the doublers out of 1/32. I put these lightning holes in the doublers. Okay. And then I have to assemble them. So I make a little fixture. Let me go get the fixture. Hold on.
Damn, you guys are good.
Hey, Mike. Thanks for coming in, Mike. And thanks for liking me.
Okay. Okay, we're back. Okay.
Hang on.
There you go. Okay, so now what I do is I make a fixture. And the fixture from the center line, baseline here, to the bottom angle of the nacelle is the right angle, so that when I build it like this, it puts the center line parallel to the center line of the table. It's kind of hard to explain. Anyway, I also put little uprights in here that are perpendicular to the tabletop, so that I can line up my formers. And now you can build the nacelle right on the, and that's, if I can tilt this down now, you can see that
that's impressive.
And that line here is parallel to the tabletop.
That is amazing.
Okay. So you build two of these, you know, and
you remember build a right and a left end.
You have a left and a right. And what I'm going to do now is give me a minute. I'm going to set the airplane up, and I'll put these on the airplane so you can see how they fit. I'll be right back.
All right.
Wow.
I had no idea there was that much involved in a twin.
Oh yeah.
I would guess the critical part is making sure that each engine is relative how they are to each other, so you get the right, well, I guess the right force from each engine, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
You want your thrust lines.
Yeah.
You want your thrust lines lined up properly.
Gotcha.
I used to think it was hard getting one airplane straight with one motor and one fuselage. Oh my God.
Well, with a twin, it's if you don't get both engines lined up right,
you got a problem.
Right.
That's right. It'll fly stupid.
Okay. We're gonna walk over to the other bit.
All right.
Now,
Okay,
now
hold on,
guys,
I'm
you know that lining up an engine is the least of Bob's concerns. He lines up motors, doesn't he?
Yeah, there you go.
He used to line up engines.
Now, if you look on the wing of the twin, I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a center line here. That's where the center line of the nacelle is on this wing, and it's very faint, but it's over here too on this.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it.
All right, so now I got to figure out which one is which here. Wrong one. Okay, so put these on, then I'll pull the thing back so you can see it. Okay, here we go. There they are.
Jumping man.
And if you look underneath, they fit perfectly underneath. You know.
Wow.
So that's the. I don't know what it's going to be.
Outstanding.
Now I got to put the motor mounts in.
Now, do you have an off?
These are cells will be permanent.
Do
What's
you
that?
have like a standard offset for a twin, or the engine offset?
Who?
Like the engine
Yeah,
offset.
I put about a degree and a half, 2 degrees of offset in. Yeah, I like offset because offset in an electric setup is not anywhere near as critical as it is in a glow setup. Because in a glow setup, you got what, 1 power stroke per revolution, and you get
Right.
it picks it. If you have too much offset, it kind of wants to do this. It wants to yaw the airplane. But with electric, you have 14 power strokes per revolution, so it just kind of pulls it over and pulls it. So it's a lot easier to put offset and make it work in an electric airplane, my way of thinking, than it is in a glow airplane.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's my show and tell for tonight.
Very, very good.
That's
Thank you.
really cool, Bob.
Good job, Bob.
So, you know what?
Very
Outstanding.
neat.
You know what kind of strikes me, Bob, is that last time that you were sharing with us about how little difference between the 2 motors that you have, because you said one motor just like slightly more stronger than the other one, stuff like that.
Right.
I come to start to wonder how in the world did Wendy make those twins with IC motors to run that well, or Paul Walker with those 4 little motors on a plane. I was like,
that's a poser to me. I mean, again, when I flew the big twin, the test bed twin, the first time out, I forgot to even check which motor was turning faster, or if one was turning faster than the other. And it turned out that the outboard motor was turning 75 RPM faster than the inboard motor. And when the airplane got in the air, it almost chased me around the circle. I had no tension at all. I had to actually walk backwards to keep the airplane in the air. So then I said, this can't be. This airplane weighs like 68 ounces, and it's got it's got 2 10-inch props. I mean, how is it possible this thing does not pull my arm off? And then it dawned on me, I never checked the relative RPM of the 2 motors. So I went in and I reversed it. I made the inboard motor 75 more than the outboard motor, and then I almost either broke the lines or pulled my arm out of its socket. So I
that'll do it.
So I settled on 25 RPM differential, and it seemed to be perfect.
wow.
Was that the one? Was that the motor the kid powdered at Brodak?
What's that?
Was that the airplane that guy powdered at Brodak a couple years ago?
Yeah,
a few years ago.
I gave it to Joel Costantino, and he's still flying it. He crashes it routinely and fixes it and keeps flying it.
Wow.
Yeah. Looked like a decent.
well, I have a
airplane.
show and tell for you guys.
All right.
Let's see it.
All right, so for those of you that are considering going in electric, and then they probably have some kind of a setup, and they wonder like, what do I need to put on the plane to get the job done, or is this enough, or is that enough? Is just too much, too little, or whatever, you know? So a couple of things that I think like pretty much every person that flies electric should have these items, you know. So I'm gonna move the camera now.
All right. By the way, Carl, thanks for coming in, Carl.
Oh, you're welcome.
So what I have here, I'm not sure if you ever see this, but this is called a watt power analyzer. It's about $14. You can find it just about anywhere. So what it does, it connects between the ESC. So obviously the ESC is connected to the motor, connects between the ESC and the battery, right? And what this does is that when you run the motor, it's going to show what's the maximum amperage that you're drawing from it. And if you have a tach, you can tach the propeller. So you know kind of what you can expect in flight, and that's pretty much going to answer how big of an ESC you need for the plane to get the job done, right? Another item that I have here, this is just a servo tester. So what it does, since our ESCs take a signal like from a servo kind of thing, you can use this tester as a throttle control. You could go high, low, and stuff like this. So when you connect things in here, you're gonna test using this, you can go to the maximum RPM you can get, the minimum RPM, and somewhere in between, right? So you kind of get an idea of what's going on in there. And just as a quick demonstration here, I hope it's not too loud. This is the screen. Can you guys see the screen here?
Yeah, I see it.
We can see the light. We can't see what's on it, but we can see the light.
Okay. So basically on the screen,
Just a light.
Yeah,
just a light.
You can't tell the numbers.
Yeah, it shows the how many amps you have, watt power, how many watts you're pulling, and the voltage from the battery that you're receiving right now. It's 14.43 from my battery. It's not a charged battery, so it's slightly discharged. So, and that's that. So what you do with this stuff is when you turn on the system, this is the gizmo that kind of sends the signal to the ESC and tells you to turn on or off, right? So you can just set it to whatever RPM you want to. Go to the maximum. And I can read over here what kind of amperage I'm drawing. Right now at the maximum, at absolute maximum, I'm drawing 23 amps, okay? So I know if I have a 25 ESC, that's at the worst case scenario, I'm gonna draw 23 amps. And that's on the ground because in the air, the motor unloads. It's a little bit less, always. So, I'm sorry?
Right, because it's just unloaded, not in flight. When it's in flight, it loads up more and you're going to draw more amps, correct?
Exactly, yeah. When you're in flight, you always use less. But this is a maximum power, but you never use maximum power. But you can probably say, if you have a TAC and they say you're using about 9,800 RPMs or whatever you're using in flight or whatever you expect, you can put a TAC to it and set it to there, wherever it's going to be. Say it's here, right? I can read right now how much amperage I'm getting from this. I can read how much amperage I get. So that I have a very close prediction of what's going to happen during the flight. And another thing I would like to do is that since I have this motor, since I have this propeller on it, I would like to change to a different motor, with the same propeller, right? And try at the same RPM. And I want to see how much difference in amperage is going to be on an amp draw, okay? And you can test different things with it. But in general, if you ever see a remote control and the servo that's plugged into a receiver, the receiver sends a signal to the servo, right?
Right.
Okay. And then ESCs are just the same. It's a servo connection to it, right? ESC is similar to a servo. So what is this? This just sends signal to the servo manually. And, have certain settings in here. You can go minimum, maximum. It's going to go back and forth and stuff like that. So, but that's not really, what you really need. You just need a setting to see, to check things out. So, for example, I bought a 35 amp ESC and I received a 25 amp ESC. And I said, oh, no, this is not going to work, right? Well, it turns out that 25 is enough right now because I cannot get it more than 24. I mean, I try to go slow, fast to get a quick acceleration out of the motor as fast as it is going to go, and I cannot not get it over 23. So that being said, these tools, I mean, they're not super precise, but they're good enough to give you a very close estimate as of what you can do with it, what do you need or don't need for that matter, right? So for right now, I know that I can use my 25 amp ESC.
Sounds good, Trey.
And that's what I want to say. I just share with you guys. This is an XOR 11.6 prop. If you are wondering, the motor it's a It's a what's that? A 3542. That's not measured on the inside. It's measured on the outside because that's how the jokers are measured. They look at the outside sizes, right? And obviously, it's my new prowler.
I was going to see. Show us a side view. I'd like to see how you transition the motor to the profile fuselage.
Sure. Let me disconnect the stuff here.
Hey, thanks.
All right. So I'm going to disconnect the battery. Kind of disconnects everything. I'm going to take this out. Okay. So is that what you want to see?
Yeah. That's
so what you see here, I have the profile fuselage and I have this cutout in it, right?
Right.
What I did after that, I made this nose plate. If you see it.
Yes.
So it's just a rectangular plate here, in which on the top and the bottom here, on the bottom, I made like a U-shaped notch, like this, right? And it just goes like this on the fuselage. I have a U-shaped notch and U-shaped notch on the top. And I just glue it here between the top and the bottom. And after that, I fill it in with balsa wood. This is some balsa wood sections over here to stabilize it so it doesn't do this in this direction over here. And that's it.
Yeah. And your battery goes on the inboard side. Your battery and ESC goes on the inboard side.
Yep. Yeah, like this. So what I'm thinking about doing for the battery, just to make it easier, what I would like to do, I would like to take one of these plugs here. This is one of these plugs. This is a DIN connector plug. And what I was thinking about doing, just get obviously it's going to be the male plug. And I was thinking about soldering the male plug and put some bullet connectors on the other side and insert it in here and have it glued in place. So the idea is to have this guy glued in place right here, somewhere in this area. Maybe behind over here. So after I put my battery in, like this, I just take the lead and just plug it in there. Like this, boom. And maybe on the other side of this guy, maybe I'm going to solder some of those bullet connectors. So from my ESC, from the other side, I can take the lead outs from the ESC, maybe put some bullet connector on it too, and just go bang, just plug them in here. So, and I think it's going to be kind of neat. I mean, it looks clean, right? Somewhat clean. I can put it anywhere I want to. I can put it on top. I haven't decided yet. Maybe here. I think that's a good spot. Anyway, so it's like so many ways of doing the same thing. But
what finish is on your fuselage? Is that paint or is that film?
Paint.
Looks good.
Fuselage is painted and the wing is film.
Looks good.
Yeah, and obviously I have my Kevlar hinges. And
nice.
And this is how it looks like.
That should be a great looking airplane.
Very nice.
That looks good.
It's just simple, just I showed you how, it's like, it's simple to make a plane look good by just looking at the fuselage sides, put something over there, and just transpose it and copy it on the wings. Because if you look at this, what do you see on the fuselage? You see the stripe and that and this pattern here, right?
Right.
Yeah. I have the same thing on the wings.
Yeah, it's excellent.
You see that?
Excellent.
Hang on.
Tryon, after you fly it into your toolbox, is it going to be as easy to fix as your Revolutions was?
I'm sorry? What was the question?
Just saying, after you fly it into your toolbox, is it going to be as easy to fix as your Revolutions was?
No.
Probably not.
Probably not. Honestly, probably not, because Revolutions is super easy to make parts for it.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah.
That's a mistake
Just
you
kidding.
only make once.
But this is going to be my test bed. Actually, I built it to be a test bed. And maybe later on it's going to be my boy's plane if he chooses to take on a challenge. But it's mostly a test bed to test my timers, because I'm making a new timer. I already have a nice timer that's going to work on pretty much any plane, but it's not an active timer. And the next step that I want to do is I want to do the active timer. Huh? Yeah, and this plane is going to be basically the test bed for that.
Guys, let me catch up with the chat box. We have Jack Snavely in. Hey, Jack, how you doing? And Tom Rammel says PWM 1MS. I guess that's one. What I don't know what he's saying there. 2 MS pulse, and then 1.5 MS equals half throttle.
Yes, that's correct. It's from 1 to 2. That's the range in which that's actually, if you have a radio and the receiver that sends out the pulse to the servo, it sends it in this window, right, from 1 to 2 milliseconds, right? And 1 is 0, and 2 it's 100%. And anything in between is like it's truncated.
Is the MS is that millisecond?
Milliseconds, yeah.
Okay.
So if you put it on a oscilloscope, you're gonna see this square wave that's kind of on and off, and I think how long it's on is so many milliseconds. Then it's off, and it comes back on at the same milliseconds, right? So it's looking at this wave, right? How wide it is, and it determines how what the servo says things like, okay, you want me to I see a 1.5 millisecond signal here, okay, so you want me to be in a neutral position, and the servo position's over there. Or in a ESC, we probably can see 1.5 milliseconds, so I say, okay, you want me to stop, so I stop right now. Or I see a 2 milliseconds pulse, which is much longer, or you want me to be at full power, so it commands a full power. That's the idea behind it.
So what is the acronym PWM?
Pulse width modulation.
Thank you. All right, so now I can say it intelligently. Pulse width, what's that again?
Modulation.
Modulation, 1 millisecond to 2 millisecond pulse, 1.5 millisecond equals half throttle.
Yeah.
That probably sounds a little better that time.
So,
right.
So if you have a servo, so basically you have a servo. Let's say we have a servo here. This is the servo. This is the servo arm, right? You can go from here to here, right? At 1.5 is going to be in this position. At 1 is going to be in this position. At 2 is going to be in this position. 1.5 is going to be in a neutral position, right?
Okay.
Okay. So that's basically how servos look. They look at the pulse width and they say, okay, you want me to be in this position, I'm going to be there. The same thing happens to the ESCs, right? Because the ESCs receive the same exact signal input that a servo receives. Okay. And then, and because of that, you can send any output you can send to the servo is going to operate, the same like the ESC. And that's what this little gizmo here does. This guy here that I just showed you.
Right.
It just sends the signal out to the servo.
Right. I understand. Right? It was pretty easy to follow that. I'm laughing at inside because Tom Rammel, he gave me the test first and the lesson second, because now he says pulse width modulation. But first he gave me the acronym, so I would look dumb, bro.
Okay. All right, that's all I have to say about that. So,
well, thank you, Tryon.
Hey,
you're welcome. So,
And,
Mark, this pretty much is going to answer your question because we said a 35 amp ESC, just a little bit bigger than that, which is plenty safe, right?
Right.
Yeah, we have
Perfect.
lots of margin in there.
Perfect. Yeah, and that Talon is the best, right? You think?
It's the most affordable, and it's going to get the job done.
Perfect.
And Castle Creations makes a good product. I think Bob uses them. Are you using Castle?
Actually, I am going to be using Castle ESCs on this. I'm going to use the Talon 35. They're plenty. Rick Huff's been using them. I use them in my second win, and they're fine. We're not pulling anywhere near that amount of amps per motor.
No, we don't. Yeah, I just tested this one. It's a that motor. It's a 3542, which is equivalent of a. I don't know what's the equivalent of that. Do you know the equivalent of that, Bob, off the top of your head?
What's that?
A 3542 was the equivalent of it on a stator size. It's 28 something, right?
Isn't that about a 2820?
Yeah, I think a 2825.
On the twin here, what I'm
Makes
using
sense.
are these 281420 from 850 kV. So it's a 5S motor.
Oh, okay, it's different, yeah. Oh, those Cobras? Oh, the Cobras, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to use the badass 23s, but the problem is the 23 bolt pattern radius is too small to fit my mount. My mount won't fit it, so I got to make special mounts. Or what I was thinking about going to these anyway. They're only 3.6 ounces or something. They're a lot very light.
What prop are you going to use, Bob?
I'm going to use 9.6s or 9.5s.
9.5, 9.6, yeah.
One is reverse pitch and one is standard. Well, it gives you 18 inches of disc span,
Yeah. You saw this motor here. It's at full power, 100% power out of it. It's pulling.
Take care, man.
23 amps, 22 amps, or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's very little amperage draw for the size, for the prop. Right. But the motor, I think the motor is oversized right now.
I was talking
but that's a good thing.
Paul Walker told me that he was using these things here. Actually, this is actually full. This is a Park 450 motor. You have to see how tiny that is. And this is an example. This is a 28 millimeter motor. Example about how much smaller this other one is. These are Park 450s, and this is going to go on that little test bed twin with the loss cheating method I've been doing a how-to on Stunthangar. But I was wondering if this was going to be enough power. And Paul told me that when he converted the B17 to electric, he used 4 Park 480s in a 120 ounce airplane, and it was overpowered.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what I want to say, Baba, I don't know. I know everybody's looking at the weights and stuff like that, but I think when you do in electric in general, at least from my experience, right? Anytime you use a light motor, you're gonna pay the price double on the downside.
Yeah, which is why I'm going to these larger 28 millimeter motors. And
yeah.
It's really not that much of a weight penalty, and the airplane's so light now anyway. That whole airplane before weighs 19 ounces, and that's with 2 coats of sealer on the wing and 2 coats of sealer on the tail, the rudder, and the fillets in. So so it's going to be a feather. It's going to be about 58 ounces all up.
Wow.
Yeah, no, that's super. That's super. Yeah. So the thing is like the misconception is that. Hey, I'm going to put this small motor because it's going to get the job done. Yes, it will get the job done. No question about it. It will. And they're absolutely right. But at what price, right? Because now you're pulling so much amps from so much amps to get the job done. And that's exactly where they break the logic. Yeah, you save 10, 15 grams on the motor side, but now you have to use a bigger ESC and you already pay the price for it. And in addition to that, now you need a bigger battery to put those amps and those juice to the motor to get the job done.
And you get
So-
more heat, and you get more heat too. You know, so that.
That in addition to that, yeah, because the heat is lost energy, and lost energy comes from the battery. So the battery has to be even bigger because of lost heat.
Yep.
And it just doesn't make any sense, you know. It's like, you know, yeah, I see you. Oh, this is a light motor. Look at how light the motor is. I'm going, whatever, you know.
One thing
You
I
guys
want.
recognize where Mike's at? I don't think this is Mike's home, unless it's
Wait.
inside his house.
Hey,
He's in his Unabomber hideout.
He's in his Unabomber hideout.
Hey, Charles.
That's funny, Mark.
Charles.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to show that I forgot to show earlier on this.
Okay.
Is here's that piece I cut out of the dummy paddle.
Right.
All right. Right. Now, I want to show you how well this thing fits. Let me just get it in here. Hold on.
Oh, nice.
That's what you call a tight
That's a
fit.
perfect fit. I mean, wow. You're going to use so little glue, it's not even funny.
Yeah, and you get them to line up perfectly. And if you measure, I just measured from the center line. Let's see if I can get a better view of this. From the center line on here, all the way back is equidistant to the tabletop. Right on the money.
Right.
That's really nice, Bob.
So twins are not difficult to do if you have the fixturing and tooling to do it, which is not hard. It's very simple. And if you have the fixturing, really twins are no more difficult to build than a single engine airplane, except you got to build two little fuselages in addition.
Right. And your nacelles have no incidents, right? They're just 0-0, right?
Yeah, they're everything 0-0. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Very nice.
Slick.
Yeah.
I like your nacelles, Bob. They're very elegant. Look very nice. Plus, you have nice cooling that's going underneath them. I know you keep that open.
They're also going to have. If you look at here's the drawing of this thing. All right. Now, if you notice, it's got an annular inlet. The spinner is smaller than the nose ring.
I think that is so cool looking when you do that. When a person does that.
Now,
that looks nice. I like that.
Here's something interesting I found out from Igor. Igor told my son. My son was telling him about the annular inlet, and that you get more air in around the spinner. And he said, no, you don't. He says it's the other way around. He says the air goes in the bottom through the scoop, and it comes forward through the motor and out the front of the spinner because of a low pressure area from the prop spinning because of the vacuum that pulls the air forward through the motor and out the front of the airplane. I didn't know that.
That's exactly the way a King Air system works. The King Air cowling and prop and turboprop, where it comes in the bottom, goes in the back, and out the front.
Out the front, yeah. So that was pretty interesting information. I just assumed I was ramming air into a plenum chamber in front of the mount and then going through the mount and through the motor, because my mount, the mounts are made in such a way that you have holes in them, and they line up with the cooling holes in the motor. And I'm figuring, okay, if this is the front, I'm forcing air around the spinner into a plenum chamber and then through the motor. It's just the opposite. It's coming this way and going out.
Right. But you want to get the heat out, so it doesn't matter, right?
Well, it doesn't matter, but it's interesting to note that,
Oh, absolutely. It's totally opposite what I would have thought.
Yeah, me too. The physics of it are interesting.
Would have flunked that test.
You wouldn't be the only one.
Yep. But as long as you get some air going through the motor, you're fine.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter which way it goes.
Well, I put an annular inlet on the Usama. I had with a 2-inch spinner, and I had a 2-inch needle on it, and it was running a little warm, not hot, but a little warm. And then I put an annular inlet, and I used a 1 3/4-inch spinner, and it dropped the temperature to almost nothing. I mean, it was like cold when it came down.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, it dropped the temperature like 70 degrees or something. It was ridiculous,
Yeah, and in general, you wanna drive the cooling through the core of the engine.
Mm-hmm.
That's significant. 70 degrees. Good use.
That
Wow.
is.
It was
Let
like
me say hi to Peter. Hey, Peter, thanks for coming in. And Steve Hines, thanks for coming in. And Lynn Burrell, thanks for coming back. I had to reject you earlier, Lynn. It wouldn't let me. I kept hitting allow, and it wasn't working. Matter of fact, the same issue I had with Gary last week. But I'm glad you got back in, Lynn.
You know
Oh,
what?
you just like to give him a hard time, don't you?
These
No.
these electric motors that have the built-in fan in them.
Mm-hmm.
If that's okay, you know, if it's drawing air the opposite way through the motor, the fan would be then actually hindering.
Well, if it's causing a low pressure area and pulling air through the motor, like Trina just said, it doesn't matter if you're getting air through the motor, it's cooling it. So
Right, but if you have the air like the guy's saying pulling it out the front of the motor, and you got a fan trying to blow it back through the motor, now you have two things working opposite of each other.
Well, apparently those fans, they actually force the air forward through the motor.
Ah.
They actually force the air forward. I didn't know that either. So Robbie was looking at one and he said, this thing actually goes forward through the motor.
And the only other thing is which way you turn the motor.
Well, that's true. But I mean, I guess it really doesn't matter because if you're using a reverse pitch prop, it's gonna, when you're spinning the prop, it's going to cause a low pressure area and it's going to pull the air through whether it's going left or right.
Yeah. Just the fan won't work. You can't turn a fan backwards, and
well, that's true.
It doesn't blow the air backwards.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah. I've never used the fans. I just use annular inlets, and I've had cold running motors ever since.
What? I hate to be stupid, but what is an annular inlet?
I'll show you one. Hold on.
Good night, babe.
That's set up as an annular inlet.
Oh, whoa. The scoop, the smaller spinner and the bigger. Okay. I got you.
Right.
I got one of those set up downstairs. I didn't know what to call it.
Yeah.
It's going on, ironically, my Crossfire.
There you go.
Yeah, if you look at some of the old warbirds like Series and
Here you go.
These and that, they all had annular inlet. Not a new thing.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's,
okay.
Then it's really not an annular inlet. If the air's coming out the other way.
Well, it's an angular outlet. Okay.
Yeah, that looks good. That looks good, Bob.
I don't care what you call it as long as it keeps my motor cool.
There you go.
That works.
That looks good.
Annular's better
That does
than
look good.
You got it.
That's slick.
That looks nice. Thanks for showing.
Yeah.
Bob, no surprise, but you do some pretty work.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Mike Lonke. So where are you at?
You like,
I mean, the
you like
background
passes?
is different than your garage.
Oh, there you go.
I guess he's keeping it a secret.
We're all trying to identify your location, Mike.
I had to turn down the NASCAR race. We're watching dirt track racing at Bristol
Wasn't that cool?
on the big screen back there. I'm at my buddy Chris's house, so like you might have seen my big buddy Chris sometimes hanging out with me in my shop.
Right.
I'm over at his place. He's about 10 houses down from me, so I'm down in his basement bar area. This is all his RC stuff, the big giant pub, and
I thought you had a green screen going on there.
green screen.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's for real. Those are real airplanes, man. He's got a whole bunch of quarter scale stuff and we're just over here in his place, tearing down combat motors, going through all my. I got 18 LA-25s off of combat planes that are coming off the mounts and cleaning them up, oiling them up, and getting ready to go on new airplanes for the season. So we're just working over here tonight. That's all.
No wonder we can't find 25s, guys. The combat guys have all bought them up.
So you have like 4 clocks behind you, Mike.
Say again?
You have like 4 clocks behind you?
No, those aren't clocks. I don't know. No, they're like mirrors or something. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Not sure. But he's got so that big biplane up there. We haven't flown that one yet. He's still got to hang a motor on that.
It's pretty.
And then the Cub back there, that quarter scale Cub, we've flown that a couple times. That's a gasser. That thing's a lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. And then he's got
not a Cub.
Yeah, it's a Cub.
Is that a Tundra Cub
Okay.
with the big wheels?
Yeah.
Like a bush pilot.
It's a Tundra Cub.
It looks like it'd be set up for a Franklin engine, but
Actually, is Robert Whiteley still on here? He might get a kick. He might get a kick out of this. The what is that?
Mike, it's actually Whitley. You're
What
thinking
does
of
that
Bob
say?
Whiteley.
Right.
You said
Whiteley. I'm
Whitley.
sorry. I'm sorry.
But that's okay.
Muddy
BC,
Hunting,
Alberta.
BC, Alberta, and it's got a BC tail number on it.
What's the registration on it?
BC 92016. I don't know if that's real or not. But,
That might be a government. No, not with a hunting company. That might be some sort of a gamer's permit number or something, outfitter. I don't know, because our registrations are C-F or C-G, and then 3 digits.
yeah, it's a clip wing Cub. For someone who said it wasn't a Cub, there's a sticker right there.
yeah, it's a Cub. I see it.
Yeah, clip wing Cub. Big gasser though. It's a lot of fun. We haven't flown it this year, but we took it out last year. So I'm just hanging out in Chris's shop tonight, and he agreed to help me clean up some of these motors, and we're watching the race at Bristol.
Wasn't
You know
that
they
cool?
say again.
Wasn't that cool?
What?
The racing at Bristol on the dirt.
Yeah, well, we're watching the replay right now, and Chris, he's a big racing guy, NASCAR guy, and he explained it to me. He said it's the first time in 50 years they've had dirt on the track at Bristol.
Wow.
They brought
So was
in
it usual.
it's
Truckloads
a
of
short
dirt.
track usually, and it's asphalt. He said they brought in 9 feet of dirt or something, man, and they made it a dirt track because some kind of publicity stunt or just to go back to the roots of dirt track racing. So it's pretty interesting, Bob.
Wow.
Enjoyed it.
Bristol was always renowned for that being most number of crashes per race. So it was always celebrated for carnage. Maybe the dirt had calmed that down a bit.
I think it's the other way around.
Yeah.
So, Mike, you know how a while back I was trying to get that Supertiger C35 off you,
Yeah.
and you did not sell it. Well, I think I came across the mother load. I got there's a guy in Calgary going on to electric, and he's got a C35 Combat and 3 C35 stuff, and new just for the hell of it, because I didn't have enough engines, of course. I've only got about 50 or 60, so.
Is that all? Oh.
Glad to collect.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, those are
But the
rookie
stunt
numbers.
ones, I mean, they're. Yeah, finding a stunt C35 is virtually impossible. So I was kind of glad to grab them, and I'm just getting it as a package deal.
What?
Well, I've got 4 or 5 C35 combats anyway, but
Right. I only have
so I got to
the
build a
one.
bunch of combat planes and go out and do some carnage.
Yeah, that's good. I only have the one. It's the last one I have, and I thought, I was thinking I'm more of a modern engine guy, but I'm going to keep that one because it's a vintage motor. Keep it for a combat cat or a demon or a voodoo or something like that. You know, even though I don't fool with a lot of the vintage motors a lot, still, you know, it ain't costing me nothing to keep it. So,
yeah, I think that was the second motor I
Hey, if you
purchased as
guys
a
want
kid.
to show it-
The first one was a Fox. Then I bought the Super Tiger C35 stunt version.
Yeah, you guys want to see a bit of show and tell if it'll show up?
Yeah.
Sure. What to do a model? It's a Brodak
I'm going to mute my mic again here.
All right, thanks, Mike.
smoothie. I don't know if you can see inside the bell crank area there,
Yeah, we can.
but the belt, my finger's probably in the way. Okay, that's just a cheap plastic Chinese copy of a Top Flight, but my finger gets in the way trying to show. But the whole bolt and everything rotates and wobbles, and the raw cable is just swaged onto the bell crank.
Yeah.
All of this is getting ripped out and do it right, but you know, there's a reason a lot of guys complain about barfs crashing regularly, I guess.
It's real easy to.
A little bit of an upgrade for a bell.
Yeah, I didn't know they crash often. I remember my first
So I
arc, you know.
decided out well.
Good.
I was making up some phenolic copies of the Sig bell crank, the 3-inch, and I decided to double stack them. I was doing them out of 16ths and laminating, and
Nice.
so a double stacked one with eyelets and bushings built in is exactly the same weight as the stock plastic Sig one.
Oh, wow, very
So
nice.
no loss
Wow.
whatsoever.
That's
I'll
just
probably do
phenolic.
this suspended with this.
Is that
Yeah,
ingrained?
just 16th phenolic, and then I spacered it with aircraft ply and JB weld, and then you know between the bolts on the end and the pivot, it should be pretty damn solid.
Hey, Bob, check this out. This is the one that Russ O'Neill makes.
Oh, wow.
Same as that.
Okay. That's phenolic also.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah, my
nice.
screen just froze up.
Was that Oki Air?
Oki Air, yeah.
Very nice. Very nice. You're not froze up anymore, Robert. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was finished anyway. Just thought I'd show you
Okay.
guys this, and it's
Good job on that
You know,
bell
anyone
crank.
picking up an ARF, they better look at it close.
Right.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
they're easy to repair them ones because you can just take out the nut off of the bell crank and replace the wires. That's what we always did, and then stick it back in and tighten it down.
Yeah.
well, just 1 second, you guys. Let me catch
Yeah,
up on the
and I
chat
use
box.
the bushing the same ideas.
Brent Williams says, "Hi guys," and we're up to
Hey, Brent.
23 viewers and 19 likes. We have no new members, no subscriptions, and no super chats. Don't forget the super chat out there. That helps helps Sparky with some of the expenses. So please consider doing that. And Robert, you said you was done, Robert?
Pretty much, except for I was just going to say that I used the brass tubing spacer so that I could cinch the bolt right down, just to give a bit of movement on the eyelets. And I made it the same ID as the OD of the brass tubing, same as the ID of the eyelet to try and cut down on any kind of wear.
Looks good.
But yeah, that's about it.
Very good.
This was Bob something. I can't remember what it was.
Well, Peter, how's the cockpit coming? Hey, just get up.
No,
He looked like he was getting serious. He had his helmet out. I don't know what he's going to do.
That's what I say. He's got his helmet out.
Oh, he's getting serious, all right.
Just doing some cleanup. That's all.
Got to get them love bugs off your helmet, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
Make any progress on your cockpit, Peter?
That's pretty much done. I just got to start doing the rest of the airplane now.
Okay.
I don't think that helmet's going to fit the little guy in the cockpit.
No.
He's going to mount the handle to the helmet. Pull a Bart Klipinski.
Where'd you ever figure out about your tent? I know you were going to tent your canopy, Peter. And what did you ever end up with that? Maybe I missed it last visit.
I don't think he heard you, Mark.
Yeah.
He's in the zone.
Auto zone.
Yeah. I think one of the coolest pilots I ever saw was in Bob's Saturn, the red, white, and blue Saturn. And I asked him about it. He looked absolutely stunned. He said, I just cut his shoulders off. If it was real, his shoulders would be sticking outside the airplane. But I'm telling you, that thing looked so cool in there. That was the one that one of the lines broke and it went in inverted. But dang, that was a good looking airplane.
Oh, that's
beautiful plane.
Lead out broke.
Yeah, that was a beautiful airplane. I thought that was a 61. He told me it was a 51. I about fainted. Huh?
Largest blow engine I ever ran in a control line stunt was a 51.
Man.
I ran 61.
I ran
61s in pattern when I flew RC pattern, but I never flew a 60 in a control line airplane.
Yeah, I ran a 61 in pattern, but I've got a 76 right now, no nitro on a Max B.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's a fun airplane. That's a fun airplane. It's a lot of fun to fly. The sound of it's just so different. And with no nitro, you don't have to worry about tearing your paint up or any of that stuff. It's just cool.
You flown it lately?
Do what?
Have you flown it lately?
Not lately. I quit flying it because I have on the fuel I have is the Castor synthetic mix. I went down to try to get some zero mix last weekend on the way down. And when I called, they were in the middle of an order, and if you didn't have an order in, you didn't get it that day. But boy, the prices have gone up. I can make it myself so much cheaper than I can buy it down there. But I'll still have to get my nitro and all from them.
Was that
Red?
Red?
They're like Red Max, but they're like $22 a gallon for zero nitro, and
5%
is 27. And 5% is 27 a gallon. Now, if you buy 24 gallons, you can get a pretty hefty discount. It becomes worth doing then. So what I'm going to do when I need fuel is I'm just going to ask the 12 guys I fly with, how many of you need fuel? I've got a pickup truck. I'm going to go down and get fuel. But just me going down and getting just fuel for myself, I talked to my nephew. He's actually just dating my niece, but I call him my nephew because they've been dating for so long. I think of him as an in-law. He's getting me 5 gallons of nice clear alcohol, clean alcohol, and a gallon of Klotz oil, full synthetic. So we're going to make up some fuel and see what happens. Yeah, it's all. He said from the figures he gave me, if he can still get it for that, it's going to cost about $6 a gallon to make zero nitro. That just beats the heck out of 26, 27. I mean, that's.
Oh, yeah. Tryon, go ahead, Tryon.
All right, so I just play with 2 different motors. This is the 3542. This is the 3542 800 kV motor. That's the one I just tested. That was like about 24 amps maximum or something like that.
All right.
I think the weight of this motor, I'm not sure what it is. I think it's about 156 grams or so, something like that. Okay. So let's write it down. Let's say 156, right? And according to my calculations, about 2,200 milliamps battery for a flight of 5.5 minutes, which gives the full pattern and it's nice headroom for landing and stuff like that. So that's with this motor over here, right? Now, I was just out of curiosity. I had a slightly larger motor, which is a 3548, which is the next size bigger than this, much more powerful. Basically, that motor is good enough to pull an SV11. It will do it, right?
Okay.
But I just tried the same propeller, same maximum RPM, same setting, right?
Okay.
And on a new motor, I was drawing the only 18 amps maximum.
Wow, that's
1.8, so from 24 to 18. So the difference between the two motors is no more than 20 grams at best. I can put them on a scale, and I'm going to let you know tonight exactly how much they weigh, just for your curiosity, because I'm curious to see what's the difference, right? So no more than 20, but according to calculations, I can use a 1650, 1650 milliamps battery on the bigger motor per flight. Okay, what does this mean? I cannot find a 1650 milliamps battery. It's 1800 is the next size. And I compared two identical batteries, both 4S. They are both. Hang on. No, I take this back. This is 3S. Okay, let me see if I can find the same thing 4S. Okay. I'm gonna do it quickly. I apologize for that.
It's okay. Let me say hi to Tom Ramo while you do that.
There.
Hey, Tom, thanks for coming in. Thanks for the like when you're on the chat box. I appreciate that.
4S25. Okay, my battery is going low, of course. And ZP Compact 4S, 2S, 4S25. All right, I'm going to come back with these numbers at you guys, because I think I'm already saving on a battery size much more weight, just on the battery.
Oh, just in that, yeah.
Just in that.
Eddie?
But if you imagine going from a 60 size ESC to or a 40 amps ESC down to a 25 amps ESC, those are pretty much gram per amp. For 40 amp ESC is usually about 40 grams. A 25 amp ESC is about 25 grams. So only in that side you just already saving breaking even. Not to mention the battery. In addition to that.
Yeah, that's
So that's the idea, it's like thinking that you use a smaller motor and you can get a lighter plane. It's absolutely opposite.
Right. I see that. Yep.
I mean, the numbers are the numbers, right? I'm not making up numbers.
Right. You just demonstrated it. Yeah. Excellent. So, Tom, what's going on with you, Tom?
Well, nothing with airplanes. Actually, I did finish up that RC wing that I was building. But today we had grandkids over and we built a bird feeder. So
oh, that's cool.
Well, they got wings.
Yeah, that's true.
That is very cool.
Put them bird feeders right on the front of your garage so that they eat right there, and then when they take off, they fly over your car.
I tell you what,
they're not going in my house.
When we were down at Watts last weekend, he had two, or no, he had more than that, but there was two that were together. Bird feeders, just round ones, 2-inch diameter, about 3 feet tall, whatever, with 3 or 4 feeders on each one of them. And I bet there was 25 birds on each one of those things at a time for an hour until it just flat ran out of seeds. I asked Mike, he was there. I've never seen so many birds on 2 cylindrical bird feeders in my life.
Wow.
That was the darndest thing I'd ever seen. And my
was
camera was in the car.
We can go back to airplanes now.
Yeah, back to.
Yeah, I was going to interrupt and say, Greg Nielsen. He says, "Evening, all. Hey, Greg, how you doing?"
Hey, Greg.
So that's the chat box I'm talking about, and then we have we've had 24 viewers, and we have 20 likes, and zero super chats and 0 new members, but we still have time. So consider joining our YouTube channel memberships start at $4.99 a month, and don't forget to the super chat. If you don't want to do something monthly, you can just give a donation.
Bob.
Yo.
Does it look like you're going to have your contest in October?
Yes. I already
Good.
I got the sanction.
Good. I'm planning to come.
Cool.
I want to come up and see your twins.
We're gonna have a practice day on Friday. That's October 1st, and that's one circle only. But the RC guys don't want to give up the field for the whole weekend. I don't blame them. And then we're gonna have the 50th anniversary Garden State Circle Burner old time contest, 1 year removed because they didn't have it last year. But it's the 50th anniversary old time stunt contest and classic on Saturday, and there'll be a practice circle open, and then a pizza party at my house on Saturday night, and then a beginner, intermediate, advanced, and expert on Sunday.
That sounds like a blast.
Yes.
Should be good.
Now, are you going to fly classic yourself, Bob?
Yeah, I got a new Caprice about ready to go in one piece here, so I probably will fly that, and I'm going to try to make it. And you'll appreciate this, Ferdinand. I made it a fully sheeted, built-up wing, so it has the same character as the original Caprice, which was a sheeted foam wing, and in 1967. And but I made it a fully sheeted, built-up wing, and I made everything else out of 16th. The fuselage is all 16th, the shells, everything. And I'm trying to get it in with the battery on board under 40 ounces so I can fly it on 10 solids.
Wow. Wow. Hope that happens.
Well,
that'd be great.
That just tells me I need to leave my classic at home.
Well, no,
Yeah.
I won't be flying classic there. I probably, I'll have an airplane there, but I won't fly. I don't believe in flying in my own contest.
I'll tell you one thing. That sounds like an awesome airplane.
Although I may fly old time stunt because the Garden State Circle Burners are going to run old time stunt, so I figure I can legally fly in that.
Yeah. Now, in your old time stunt, is that going to be electric, or are you going to have a Sparky? Or
I won't have a Sparky, that's for sure, and I probably won't have electric in that either. As much as I want to build an electric old time stunt airplane, I just can't bring myself to do it. So I'll probably put a Enya 30 or something like that, I'm going to build Red Reinhardt's 1950s International winner.
So you're going to have someone else start the Enyas? I know you don't like getting oily and greasy.
That's a very good possibility. I'll have someone else, maybe my wife, start the engine.
Hey, you still got that cute little V-tailed old timer that you had at VSC years back?
I didn't have a V-tail old timer. You're thinking of the Frisky Pete.
Frisky Pete, yeah.
Yeah, no, I flew that for several years. Won a lot of contests with that airplane, and then I sold it to a guy down in North Carolina. I forgot his name, but he wanted that airplane so bad, and boy, he paid me a good price for it. So Phil, you may know who bought that because you probably saw it.
I know him, but I can't think of his name.
Yeah, he's not around.
He's over near Raleigh.
Is he still around?
I haven't seen him for a year or two, but then I haven't seen any of the Raleigh crowd for
That
over a year.
That was a good little airplane. Weighed 22 ounces.
Great little airplane. Fast, but a great little airplane.
What's quick?
I thought my Hotter than that was the fastest old timer I'd ever flown. And I didn't ever fly Frisky Pete, but I watched Bob fly it, and I said, I got my clock out, and that thing flew faster.
It wasn't that fast. It was probably about a 4.8.
It was a 4.7.
4.7. We're not gonna quibble over.
Well, mine was 4.9, and I thought that was too darn fast for me. And then you come in at a 4.7. I said,
The thing about that airplane is, when the motor shut off, it had all the gliding characteristics of a set of keys.
Yeah. But when he
kind of like a Fox Hero.
But I'm telling you what, when Bob took off, you couldn't ask for a more rule book takeoff, and he made the landings look effortless.
That was a good little airplane. It tracked like a freight train. It tracked like a freight train, and right from the very get-go, the second flight on that airplane won the first round at VSC. The second flight on the airplane.
Wow.
I think it had a lot to do with the pilot myself.
It was just a good airplane. It really was. You know.
Well, it was a good airplane, but it had a heck of a pilot. I'm telling you what, he was on that day because I thought we were set to have some pretty good numbers up, and then Bobby flew, and I just looked at Tommy and shook my head and said, "Well,
you almost couldn't.
You won that year, didn't you?"
It tracked like a freight train. So you know round maneuvers were as simple as you just set it and watch it, and it just did 5 loops perfectly. You know.
Yeah, you won that year, didn't you? I thought
Won
you
what?
did.
VSC? No, I left a maneuver out. I think in the second round or something.
Yeah, I think your next flight, didn't they stand up there with cards?
Well, that was a couple of years before that. It was Bob Foster and his wife. I had left out maneuvers 3 years in a row. So the year I got out there with Louis' 50th International winner, I borrowed it. And I looked outside, and they were holding up signs that said loop, you know, figure 8. Signs, so I wouldn't forget a maneuver.
What got me was he told him, "You damaged my plane, and they'll never find you."
Yeah.
I know he was kidding, but it was funny at the time.
Well, Louis and I go back a
Yeah.
long way, you know.
Yeah, he seemed like a pretty neat guy.
He's a good guy. Good builder, good flyer, too.
Yeah.
I used to paint my airplanes in his garage. We lived about 15 minutes away from me when I was at Flying Models magazine. I was working out of an apartment, so I had to go to his garage to paint my airplane. And, because he did car restorations, you know, really beautiful car restorations.
Yeah.
So he was good with the spray gun.
Well, I tell you, I got a guy here that's wanting to paint one of my airplanes, but I would let him do it for the beauty of the paint job because he paints it beautiful and he rubs it out and it's gorgeous. But I built a Ringmaster and he built a Ringmaster, and my Ringmaster is a pound lighter than his.
A whole pound.
I said, holy cow.
Amazing how that paint adds up.
I mean that.
Hey, you know, Joe Daly has been painting his airplanes this year with that class coat, that epoxy.
Yeah.
And he's getting incredibly light results. It's not how much you put on, it's how much you take off. He puts on a first coat, then he block sands everything dry until it's almost gone. And then it's a perfect base. And then a very thin coat, second coat, makes it perfect. And it doesn't weigh anything. And the stuff is impervious, you know. So
Wow.
that's another way to
I've got a can of that stuff in the basement, but I've been scared to play with it. May have to do
It's a
it.
good thing we don't have Sparky on tonight. He'd get all upset about the talk to class coat instead of dope.
I'll tell you what.
All my new airplanes are going to be any dope on my new airplane. 0 dope.
Oh my goodness.
0.
Yes,
Bill,
sir.
what
Yes,
happened with your painter's touch experience?
The what?
I am still working on it. I repaired a blue stripe today. I've got to do another little piece on it tomorrow or one day this week, one day, soon. And then I'm going to try to clear coat it, but I don't really know what to put over top of it on clear coat. Clear coat over paint over monocoat. I'm not really sure what to use. But what I've decided to use is automotive clear.
Okay, well, on my Pathfinder LE, I used Beauty Ray dope. I used Brodak dope.
That's what I was going to use, but the butyrate that I put on the Conocoat on my Teosaki just flaked off like the plane had dandruff or something. And it just didn't stick at all. So I said, well, I got to try something different. I was talking to different people, and Tom Looper said he'd had some luck with this particular kind of clear. It's actually made for engines. It's actually an engine clear, which I built a lot of engines for dragsters and show cars, and I've never put a clear coat on an engine. So, I mean, I've done 426 Hemis and I've done 327 Chevys, and I've never put clear coat on. But it's interesting. I mean, I'll give it a try. I'm just going to put clear coat over the red and blue and the white monocoat or Econocoat, and just come 1/4 inch inside the stripes and put that on there, and then paint the fuselage. Everything's got paint on it. We'll get this over top of it, and we'll see what happens. And I'll just have to hope for the best, because if it don't work, it's going to be a mess.
Yeah.
But
Well,
my wife says I'm real good at those.
try to stay away from the rattle can with that stuff, and go with the, where you can cut it a little bit, because it's water based.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Try to get I bought some Omni Clear, a quart of paint and a gallon of thinner, about $85. So I'm gonna try to put that in a airbrush and see what happens. My buddies keep
All right,
telling me,
you still need me to let me know if you need me to get you a pint can or a quart can of it.
I'm still thinking about it, but I think I have
When
found
you're
a
ready.
source. I just don't have it yet. But I put the rattle can. I put rattle can clear on it. It's awful heavy, but like I say, this one's going to be a test bed, and if this one works and does what it's supposed to do, I'm going to build a wooden one, because I already had a wing downstairs. I cut the wing out years ago, and then Tom Dixon, I think, gave me this wing. He had 4 of them cut because guys wanted them, and nobody took them for whatever reason. And he just gave me one. I bought 2 other wings from him, just foam cores, and he just gave me this one. So I brought it home and put it together, and it's a neat looking little airplane. I'll bring it and show it as soon as I get it finished where I can handle it. I'll bring it and show it to everybody. But this clear coat this stuff is driving me nuts. I'm really worried about it, because I'm afraid it's going to melt the darn finish.
You should try that on a test piece instead of on your airplane.
Oh, I am. I'm gonna I'm gonna try it on a couple of test pieces, and then I'm gonna try it on the cowl.
Okay.
Cowl will be the first piece of the airplane I actually shot, because I can't afford to melt the top of this thing as pretty as it is, and as much as I worked on it. I don't have the heart to shoot it, just go outside and say, okay, danged if I do and danged if I don't. No, I can't.
Yeah.
Just not that brave. But it's turning out really nice. Like I say, this was not a plane that I took particular pains building, and then it has turned out to be one of the neatest, just cutest little airplanes, which really makes me sick that I didn't take more time building it. But it is what it is. I ordered a tank for it, and got a few more pieces coming for it, and I've got to bend that landing gear. Somebody was nice enough to measure the landing gear and call me and come in over there a few weeks back, tell me how big the thing was. I think it's 4.5 inches, best I remember. I got notes. I write everything down, because if I don't write it down, it goes in one ear and out the other. It's gone. But I'm going to try to get it together and get it ready to fly in the next 2 weeks. Though I get to fly tomorrow if it doesn't rain, but it looks like it's going to rain. It looks like it's going to be a rain from here to Georgia. So probably won't fly tomorrow. Mark, we're going to reschedule our weekend, buddy.
Yeah, me and Tran was talking about that too yesterday. It's probably maybe next weekend or something like that.
Well, next weekend's Easter.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Well,
yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Figure out a weekend we can do it, and I'll come down for it. I'd love to, but I can't do it next weekend. I got my daughter's coming up here next weekend, so I can't go down there. But anyway, we're gonna try to get that thing finished and get it going, and then I've got to get going on my Crossfire, trying to finish my Crossfire. One of them, I've got 2. I got a Crossfire and a Crossfire XLTC, and I got to get the 2 of them finished. And I don't know, Bob, what do you think if I take an XLTC, take the regular fuselage, stretch it like the moment she told me for an XLTC, then put the annular type front end, plastic front end on it, and drop it down 5/8. What do you think? Leave the rest of the plane alone. What do you think?
The center line of the motor?
Yeah.
I would drop it down into the center line of the wing. That's what I've been doing.
Center line of the wing. You got it. Okay.
Now that one makes, if you're going to be using a big prop, that means longer landing gear. But we found that this, like Paul has always been preaching smallest diameter that you can get away with. And I started using 11-inch diameter props rather than 12s. And I got them working way better than the 12s. And then you can make the landing gear a little shorter. So the whole thing's a little more compact. And you get the thrust line on the center line of the wing. That's why the center lines of the motors got higher to begin with. We started using bigger props. And we started, instead of making longer landing gear that looked like stilts, we just moved the engines up. And that's where that all started. Because years and years and years ago, everything was in line. You know?
Well, I tried to raise the landing gear. I made the landing gear on my Cobra 1/4 of an inch longer. 1/4 of an inch. And it just looks goofy.
Yeah.
So I had to go back and I had to go back and cut everything out and put it back like it's supposed to be, because if from the profile view the wingtip don't just about touch the bottom of the fuselage, it just looks goofy.
Yeah.
So,
well, if you're using a one prop, you can get away with putting them in line, and I think they just fly better.
Well, I think that's what I'm gonna do, because I like the 11-inch props anyway.
Yeah.
I like to go to
that's what we do, all in line.
I'm using that Ressinger prop. I tried the Igor prop. I know it's light. I know a lot of people swear by it, but I didn't like it. It was too flexible. And I got that Ressinger prop, which was a reverse pitch, which I've always liked, but it was heavy. But it had so much extra meat. I think I showed it here one night, how much extra meat that had on the hub. And then I took a drum sander and a Dremel, and I just worked on it for an hour and a half or 2 hours. And I got it down to almost the same weight as the Igor prop. And it just pulls the airplane way better than the Igor prop does.
Ressinger, is that something you can get locally, U.S.?
Alan Ressinger and Chris Cox have the molds for that, and they make them.
Okay.
Chris was on here last couple of weeks ago.
Bob, what do you think?
I'll get one to show you the difference. Hold on.
Bill?
Yes, sir.
I like to go to a 3-blade when I need more clearance.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing too. Just got to find one.
Yeah.
11 6 3-blade.
All right, Charles, give me a screen here, will you?
Yeah.
Here's the stock prop. Now, if you take a look at this prop, you can see this big hump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not necessary. There's no reason to have that huge amount of material there. So I took this exact prop, and now.
Wow.
Look at that.
Wow. How much weight did you knock off?
7 to 8 grams, depending, on the density of the prop to begin with. It was about 7 grams, 7.5 grams. And I got it down to almost the exact same weight as the Igor prop. And this is a reverse pitch prop. It just pulls better. Now, here's another thing. See this thing here? This is a Paul Walker suggestion. I was getting a little bit of a resonance at the Nationals when I was practicing last year. And Paul says, I know what that is. He says, take a little piece of 1/64 plywood on the back of the hub, and that'll take that resonance away. And he was absolutely right.
Wow.
1/64 plywood.
Yep.
Wow.
What was the resonance coming from, do you think?
It's something between the prop not biting into the thrust washer enough because it's carbon, and it was cavitating a little bit. And he said the plywood will bite into that, or the washer will bite into the plywood better and level it out. And sure enough, he was absolutely right. It runs much smoother and no noise whatsoever.
Interesting.
But if you look at these two props, they're the same props to start out with. And
wow, yeah.
That's quite a bit smaller.
You can see the
that's
difference.
interesting. Yeah.
And it's much lighter.
Son of a gun. Well, learn
Very
something
nice.
every day.
They're both 11s. They make a 12 also.
No, if I can get away with the 11, I like the 11s better
I
myself.
like it too.
Especially the 3-blade prop. It's silly to try to throw a 12 3-blade. That's a lot of prop.
I think that spiral airflow doesn't get enough attention. The effects of spiral airflow around the fuselage and hitting the fin and causing the airplane to weather vane, and there's so much going on there. That's one of the reasons I love twins, is that you get rid of all of that. You know, one prop's going one way, one's going the other way, and neither one of them's putting anything around the fuselage.
Right. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And plus, you're getting all that disk span, to, you know, artificial air blast or accelerated air that makes the airplane much more efficient, makes the wing lift better, you know, makes the tail more efficient. So.
One thing I found out, if I mean, I shouldn't tell this because Mike's listening, and I got to compete against that rascal. But if you're out flying and there's no wind, and you're using a 12-inch prop, and you take the 12 off and put an 11 on, you will be surprised how much of the buffeting and the crap goes away.
Yeah.
What you don't realize, you're hitting your own turbulence, and the 11 just makes a lot less.
Absolutely. Now I'll tell you something else.
That makes sense.
This is something else that I didn't believe until I tried it. Joe Daly called me up all excited one day, and he said, "Have you tried Triptape on your wing yet?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, you got to put it on." He said, "Not only does it make the airplane fly like it's lighter and make it lock better and everything else," he said, "when you go out and fly in dead calm and you come through and hit your own turbulence," he said, "with the Triptape, airplane just goes right through it. You don't even know it." And I couldn't believe that until I went out and tried it. He was absolutely right.
What is Triptape?
It's like a pinked, you know what a pinking shear is, right?
Yeah.
It's like a pinked piece of tape that's 0.008 of an inch thick nominally. And I have mine pink on both sides. It's sailplane tape. It's like turbulator tape. And you put it back about 20% back from the leading edge on the wing span-wise. You put it top and bottom on the wing and top and bottom on the tail. And the airplane just flies so much better, and it flies better, way better in dead calm. It's not affected by its own turbulence anywhere near as much.
Well, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And you put it a third of the way
How far back do you put that, Bob?
What's that?
How far back do you put that on the wing?
About 20% back.
Just a little bit ahead of the CG. Then.
Yeah, a little bit ahead of the CG. I think it's real critical, but I put mine about, I don't know, whatever it was. I figured out what 20% was, and I put it on there. And but the one thing he did say is it's real important is to make sure that it's the exact same distance back on top as it is on the bottom.
Yeah.
You don't want to have an unequal differential top and bottom. But
So-
man, does that stuff work? It makes the airplane fly like it's about 10 ounces lighter, or at least 8 ounces lighter. And it makes the airplane lock. There's no hunting or anything. And in dead calm, when you hit your own turbulence, you don't have to walk backwards. And that's the other thing I like about the reverse pitch props. When the airplane does hit its own turbulence, and with a standard pitch propeller, it'll come at you. With a reverse pitch propeller, it'll roll away from you.
Is that on both inverted and normal flight there, or just on normal flight?
What's that now?
Is that in normal maneuvers or just both inverted and normal?
He said inverted flight or both ways.
Oh, yeah, both ways.
Both ways. Wow. Okay.
Now, you said you put it on the stab too. But where do you locate it on the stab? And then one more question while you're thinking about that. Your leading edge of your wing is angled back. Do you follow the leading edge, or do you go straight on the mean aerodynamic chord?
That's a good question. I did it. I just followed the leading edge. I went back equidistant from the leading edge, so it is tapered. As the wing is tapered. But that might be an interesting experiment to try it where it's. I don't know why it would be better or worse, but it might be something to try.
Staying on the mean aerodynamic chord, parallel to it.
Yeah, parallel to the yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now the stab. What are you back? What 20-30% back for the leading edge? Or?
Yeah, I think I put it back about half an inch back from the leading edge on the stab. I don't think it's real critical. As long as you get them back the same distance, top and bottom on both surfaces, I don't think the actual. I imagine if you put it right at the leading edge, it might be different than putting it 20% back. But I think the important thing here is to go out and experiment a little bit.
Well, yeah. Now your Tripster, you're pinking both sides of it. What is your
stuff I got? The stuff I got is already pre-pinked. It's both sides. It's ragged, front and back.
What's the width?
The total width is about a 1/4 inch.
Okay, so it's just a thin little strip.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
thickness? Is it very thick?
It's 1/8 of an inch. You say, 8,000ths of an inch. You want to
Okay.
make sure, according to Frank Williams, who's a certified rocket scientist, he did a lot of experimenting with this, and he said minimum 8,000ths thick. Otherwise, it doesn't give you anywhere near the effect of it.
Well, it's just changing the laminar flow, and it makes me almost think of like a vortex generator, but not quite. It's interesting. I'm trying to get around my head aerodynamically. Like, okay.
The guys that I talked to about it were telling me that they took those funky things off the wing and put these on, and it seemed to work. So I did it to my Nobler, but the Nobler, I had something hang up inside, and it didn't really crash, but it busted a prop again, and I just hung it up. I'm done. 3 repairs on that old airplane is enough, but it did seem to do everything else better up until that point.
Yeah, I think the important thing we got to remember is that, everybody's looking for an exact number. Well, there may be a different exact number for each aerodynamic setup, and also something that works. The chances if you put it on and it works a whole lot better than what it used to work, the chances that you hit the optimal setting the first time out is astronomical against that. So you want to keep moving things around and trying different things until you do find the best thing. Some things are going to get worse, some things are going to get better.
Yeah,
true enough.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And the goofiest looking thing is usually the one that works.
Yeah,
could be.
I've been reading this book. It's called Model Aircraft Aerodynamics.
I got that book.
Do you? I was curious who else has it. I just
used to have it.
This guy turned on to it recently, and it was actually I was curious when you said trip strips. It even mentions it in here. It says it's talking about turbulators, and it says a similar effect is obtained by mounting on or just behind the leading edge a raised trip strip or leading edge turbulator, which may be of various forms and sizes. In each case, what is required is a brief separation bubble followed by turbulent reattachment downstream. A turbulator which is so small will not achieve the earlier transition, but one which is too large may itself cause flow separation. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
Charles, I'm curious where you got that book. That's been out of print for a while. Did you?
Yeah, a friend of mine passed away, and I know he was passing away, and I just said, "Hey, He didn't want to go with the book, so I just said, "Can I borrow the book?" It's kind of like, "Can I write you a check?"
Yeah. Well, hang on to that. That's a hard one to find. There's a lot of good information in there.
Yeah. So, I'm only about that. I'm not that far into it, but I'm enjoying it. And I just wanted to have an understanding about aerodynamics. I fly these planes, and I really couldn't give an explanation of how a plane actually flies. And I'm really serious about this, so I thought I would study up on aerodynamics.
There's
Who wrote that?
There's another set of books that are very famous in the modeling world, but they've been out of print, I guess, for a long time too, by Frank Zayek, and it was called Spiral Airflow.
Spiral Airflow, yeah.
And there was a series of them, and they were very interesting, mostly for free flight. But listen, the airplane doesn't know it's a free flight; it's an airplane, and you can use a lot of the same things that they're doing, especially this turbulator stuff. They used to use turbulator strips span-wise on the leading edge of the wing. About every half inch or so, they put a 1/8 length, a span-wise spar, and they cover over it, and you have a little bit of a turbulator in the leading edges. They did that in free flight for years. And then when you've looked at the Kenhai Panther, that used that same, and so did Dick Mathis's Excalibur, the original one, had a turbulator leading edge. And so there's something to
that.
Yeah.
I was
That was
watching
interesting.
a thing on TV about, I think it's a DC-3. Is that the one that they jumped parachuters out of in World War II and stuff?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they were saying that when that plane first came out, that it was in the wind tunnel and stuff. And the biggest thing they got down from turbulence and drags was the fillet in the wing and how it's shaped and it gets bigger in the back. That's the biggest thing for lift and turbulence on that wing to smooth out how the airplane flies.
Do you know who did all the work for Lockheed for many years on fillets and fairings on the SR-71, on the Constellation, on the Hercules, a whole bunch of airplanes?
I know.
Shooting Star. Do you know who it was?
Yeah, Bob Palmer.
Bob Palmer, exactly
Harry
right.
Day.
Very good.
Yeah, they said that it made the tail more efficient with a wing fillet.
Yeah.
On that, but it's the shape of it. It's just not filling in the gap. It's the shape of that fillet.
Right.
And a buddy of mine who flew RC patterns and Tournament of Champions and stuff, he always worked with that fillet on the wing because he said that it affected the tail. And I just like, okay, what? I thought it looked nice, but
yeah.
But yeah, so
Mark
remember
can
too,
expound on this. Go ahead.
Well, go ahead.
Mark can expound on this a lot more than I can, but when I was much younger, my pastor got me to learn to fly, and he asked me what plane did I really, if I had a chance to fly one, what plane would I really love to learn to fly? I said, well, I don't know about learning to fly, but I would really love to fly a DC-3 one time. I think that's just the coolest airplane. Well, the next thing I know, I'm in the right seat. Couldn't get the left, but I did get the right seat of a DC-3. And he said, land this, bro. I went around, flew it. We flew up Pilot Mountain and flew around for about 2 hours and came back. He said, land this thing. So I pulled the sticks back, kill the power. I'm going to fly it into Winston-Salem Airport. Everything else I've ever flown, you pull the power back, it comes down. Not a DC-3. It thinks it's a sailplane. Jeez, you got to fly that thing onto the ground.
Huh.
That was an experience. I looked over at Henry and I looked back at George. I said, what's going on? He said, push the nose down. I said, that's how you stretch out a glide. He said, push the nose down. Okay. So you push the nose down. Everything else, when you push the nose down, it speeds up. DC-3 just wanders in. Made a pretty landing, but they had to talk me through it.
That's one of my favorite airplanes of all time. I got about 1,000 hours in DC-3s, and they're just a great, honest old airplane. Just what a great design.
They got one down in Charlotte now that they've taken the radials off and put turbines on.
Yeah, I flew those models too. Yeah,
that's an odd looking thing, but they say it flies even better.
He was talking about the fairings and fillets and things, and that's true. I mean, all that stuff will affect. That's why they do tough testing, so they can figure out what all this stuff does. But you got to remember too that we're flying miniature surfaces in full-scale air.
Yeah,
and it's going to react a little different. It's Reynolds number, and just because something works at a certain scale on a big airplane doesn't mean it's going to work as well, and doesn't mean it's not going to work as well either. But you just can't take things from full-scale airplane and transpose them to a model airplane and expect they're going to work.
Well, they actually do work at a certain level, right? But what you're talking about is the scale effect.
Right.
Yeah, because we're just technically flying our planes as the big planes are flying in stratosphere somewhere.
Yeah.
Because of the air density.
Well, like I said, we're
relative to the size of the plane.
We're flying miniature surfaces in full scale air. So
What is the difference between the DC-3 and the C-46?
Well, C-47, right? Or
46. C-47, yeah.
Yeah. Basically, C-47 was the military designation. And when they decided, Douglas started producing for commercial air travel, the DC-3. That's the difference. The C-47,
and the Navy called it what, the RD-4?
Yeah, R-48, and
R-48.
then the RD-4D, and then the Super DC-3 is R-48. But yeah, the C-47 had a little heavier gear, You know, and was stressed a little bit more in the cargo compartment, stuff like that. But yeah, that's the basic difference. DC-3 was the civilian version, and the C-47 was the military version. Yeah.
Let me interrupt you real quick. I have a couple of people on the chat box. Dennis Milton says, would this group be willing to give a little advice about how to build a super clown? I haven't built a control line plane in decades. Everything has changed. Has anybody built a super clown?
Super clown's just a big clown. It's a great airplane, but it just builds like it always did. The glues have changed, but the bosses, I mean, it still would. Just take your time, relax, and build it.
The really nice thing about a clown is that you can get 4,000 of them into a Volkswagen.
but can you get them out?
And I wanted to add, Phil, you had a question. The author of this book is Martin Simmons. Yeah. Martin Simmons. And I happen to have, I think, not sure what edition this is, but I've seen some. If you look, I've seen some out there.
You can check Amazon; they might have it used.
I forgot what edition this was. What revision? Anyways,
one, but I
and then
had a friend that
in the chat,
I haven't seen it since.
Greg Nilsson, he chimed in that the DC-3 was the first plane I rode in 62 years ago.
Wow.
And then Greg Nilsson also said, yes, C-47 was military designation.
Yeah, military designation.
You know, the thing is that the pictures I've seen, the C-47 had more of a, its cockpit area was different than the DC-3.
Well, there was a lot of internal differences too. You know, I mean, some of the C-47s had an actual navigator with a. You'll see some of the old C-47s that has a dome on top. That was for the guy with the sextant, believe it or not.
Right.
Yeah. They would take a
Some
star shot.
And some of the fins and rudders were different shapes on different
True
variants.
True statement.
Yeah. Here comes Howard Rush, you guys.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting on that story of the DC-3. I guess it came from a DC. They had the DC-1.
Yeah, DC-1, a DC-2.
Yeah, and the 3 had to do with. The only difference was with the stuff to make it go through the air better and react better and stuff like that. You know what they came up with, but yeah, they were saying that the wing fillets made the biggest difference over a DC-2 to DC-3 was just the fillets.
Yeah, they're long.
People like flying because it didn't buffet and shake or rattle the airplane and all that kind of stuff in the air when passengers were.
Well, I beg to differ. It rattles. They rattle.
Yeah. How bad was it before they put the fillets on?
Well, compared to a tin goose, yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, they said that the Boeing, I can't remember what the Boeing model was that was before the DC-1, but they said that was so noisy and rattly that, you know, they showed pictures of people flying on it and they're handing them drinks and stuff like that. They said you couldn't even hear the talk in it.
Yeah, that's probably true. In comparison to today, it's like a, you know.
Yeah, I heard a story of a DC-3, and I don't know how true it is, but the story was during the Berlin airlift, they were using a lot of those to bring things in, and one fella loaded and realized when he was coming in for a landing that it was feeling a little heavy, and so they landed and they were offloading it. And he'd done his weights and measures, figuring all those plates were aluminum. They were steel that he was loaded on. He had on about maybe 50% more than gross allowed on that thing.
I believe it.
Wow.
You believe it?
I believe it 100%. I've taken that airplane and even the cargo conversion and stuff like that. And mistakes and stuff like that. You know, if the door will close, it'll fly. You know?
Wow,
that's pretty.
I
I mean,
it's instant ships, huh?
you wouldn't want to do it on purpose, but you know,
I like that.
You know.
Hey
Gentlemen,
Bob, this guy Milton, Dennis Milton, he came back with your clown and Volkswagen. He says yes, but can you fly them in a VW?
I tell you what, we
they
had a kid
all have their
in
own little
Charlotte that
unicycle too, you know. So
we had a kid in
The
Charlotte
guys
that
on
wanted
the
one of those.
D3 there. There
And I
was
cut one
an
out
old
for
friend of
him and-
mine who's dead now, but anyway, he was kind of tied in with the Flying Tigers, flying for the Chinese national airline, Shanghai Czechs, and him and his brother. That was a subsidiary of Pan Am, actually. And, you know, the military guys, they do 25 missions and go home. Sid did over 250 over the hump, and his brother did over 750.
Whoa.
And if you read history books, there's 1-0 kill accredited to a DC-3. That was Cedric Ma.
Really?
And the guy was in on repeated strafing passes on him and attack passes and passed under him. Said slammed the fuselage down into him and ran him into a mountaintop.
wow.
And when all that payroll script was, if you ever run across it, for decades, people were searching the Himalayas looking for these pallets of money. And that was also on his airplane. They had an engine failure and had to boot out all the cargo, which happened to be the payroll.
Oh my
So they were
goodness.
under investigation for years and watched so they, him and the co-pilot, in case they went looking for it.
Yeah,
But interesting stories.
It's like a DB Cooper story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sid had just
Yeah.
God knows how many hours on that, bush planes, and he did the field trials for the single otter when that came out up north in Canada.
Oh, that's a great airplane.
So it's really interesting.
Yeah.
These old guys.
You gotta be quiet.
Hey guys, I'm gonna have to punch out here.
All right, Bob,
Me
thanks
too.
for coming in. And it's almost time for the after party. But I want to apologize to somebody. I missed someone's comment. They wanted to say something, and I don't know who it was. Maybe you said it after all, but I'm sorry if I missed it. Was it you, Mike?
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Go
me. I just wanted to chime in on somebody talking about how loud the DC-3s were and stuff. Unless you've actually been on a clapped out, stripped down DC-3 jump plane, you have no idea how loud those radials are, man. Or even a Beech 18 with smaller radials. They will shake your teeth out. They are so loud, so noisy, and so painful. And even worse than that, I jumped the Super Constellation, the 4-engine radial, Connie.
Connie? You jumped out of a Connie?
Was that Freak Bro?
Yes. No, Quincy, World Free Flight
yeah.
Convention, 96, 97, somewhere in there. The Save a Connie Foundation brought their Connie in, and for $59 you could jump it. But man, radial engines are loud and noisy, and you feel deaf after a little while. The only thing worse, and Mark can probably attest to this, than jumping out of a radial engine airplane is jumping out of a Skyvan, a short Skyvan that has those Garretts on them, those Garrett motors. Oh my God.
Yeah.
They make you want to just tear your eardrums out, man. They're awful.
The pitch of the engine just drives you nuts.
They're terrible. But when you're
solid jump run, it's not too cool either.
yeah, but when you're in your late 20s, early 30s, you don't care that much about your hearing, so you don't pay that much attention to it. But these days, you pay for it later, I guess.
Well, that's what they said though about air travel back then, that these people were paying big bucks to ride on these airplanes, and to go from New York to California was like a 3-day trip. And
yeah, well, and
can you imagine being on that airplane for 10 hours a day or something like that?
But I got it. There's a caveat there. Okay, so a commercial airline version of that airplane back in the day had insulation and had noise reduction and sound reduction and stuff like that. I'm talking about, and Mark can speak from this experience as well. Most jump planes of those classes, they're stripped down. All that stuff is gone. I mean, the bulkhead, you know, in the skin of the airplane is what you got between you and the outside. There's no insulation. There's no leather upholstery, or, you know, there's no sound and noise reduction anywhere, because they strip them down to nothing, man. They take all that stuff out of there. So they're even worse for skydivers than it was for people, you know, flying in them commercially back in the day.
Yeah, there wasn't much in them on the commercial flights, because they were saying, you know, once they put the chairs and stuff like that, they're looking at the weight and how many people they could carry. So, you know,
but they did have a double wall. They had the outside skin, they had some insulation, and then they had an inside wall that was typically upholstered or leathered. You get in a jump plane, all that stuff is gone, man. You just got the outside wall, just the, you know, the bare minimum. That's all. There's a big difference. Big difference.
Some years ago, I went to Oshkosh, and they had a Ford Tri-Motor there.
Yeah.
I didn't get to ride in it. They did have rides. But if I remember correctly, it was pretty well stripped out inside. I mean, it had seats and that, but I don't recall there being any insulation or anything between the bulkhead. But there was, so they had a, what necessity? Another tri-motor, big company. They made, anyway, it had a real funny windscreen. The top was further forward than the base, and
I know the one you're talking about, but I can't remember the name of it.
I can't. The name's right on the tip of my tongue.
Ford Tri-Motor, but it was yeah.
Yeah,
anyway, it was. I went inside that, and it was all nice in there. You know, it was, and it's trimmed out as a top of the line passenger plane, and the tri-motor was supposed to be a commuter airplane, kind of local. I bet that was noisy in that sucker.
Yeah.
Well, they said that on that same show that the reason why Boeing and McDonnell Douglas came up with that airplane is that Lombardi died in that Ford Tri-Motor, that the whole undercarriage fell out of it, and that's why that airplane crashed, from vibration and all that kind of stuff, and you know, whatever. But that's what he died in there. And
I thought he
that was
died
a reindeer.
I thought he died in a beach staggerwing over the channel.
No, Vince Lombardi died in.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of another guy. I'm thinking of
Vince Lombardi. Okay.
And a Norseman.
Glenn Miller.
It was a Norseman, yeah.
Yeah, and it was a Nordine Norseman that he died in. Probably got bombed by a B-24 flight jettisoning their bombs overhead.
That's what I heard.
The wreckage a few years.
Did they?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I was going to say,
well, you guys, I'm gonna close this live stream out, and we can start the after party. And if you're watching this and you want to come to the after party, you have to be a member of Stunt Hangar Forum to find the link to be able to come into the after party. And sometimes the after party is actually better than the live stream portion. But I want to thank Dennis Milton for coming in. That's the first time I think you came in, at least to my recollection. Thank you, Mike Lonke, Tom Rammel, and Jack Snavely, and Greg Nielsen, and Dennis Milton on the chat box. I appreciate that. And, of course, everybody came in here. I think we had, at one time, 15 people inside here, and we didn't have any deterioration of the video or audio, I don't think. So that's a really good sign. And we had 20 we actually had as many as 29 viewers, and we have 21 likes. So if you haven't hit the like button, please hit the thumbs up button. That's what I mean by likes. And don't forget the chat revenues, super chat. You can still donate. And don't forget the YouTube memberships starting at $4.99 a month. Anyways, so we'll be back again Monday. So go out there and have some fun and come back and tell us all about it. And oh, by the way, Dennis Milton, I hope we answered your question about the building the Super Clown. If you have more questions, it's kind of hard. I just actually I don't spend a lot of time on Sparky's YouTube channel, but next time, come back Monday and then tell us if you have any more questions, and I'm sure we'll be able to address any concerns you have about it. So anyways, until then, tight lines and fair winds.